And now.
That's the middle shot. He scores! Slips it off to Wyatt Matthews. He's in! Eagles take the lead!
The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Welcome to Sports Talk, the number one sports podcast in the Philadelphia area. Come on out here, Brodes. This episode of Sports Talk with Brodes is brought to you by Sports R Philly. Sports R Philly contains a wide variety of great blogs across the Philadelphia area. You can follow them on Twitter at Sports R Philly or check out their website, www.sportsrphilly.com.
What is going on, everyone? We are here for episode 17 of Sports Talk with Brodes. Before we begin, you can follow me on Twitter at sportsandbrodes. You can leave your sports point using your voice memo app on your iPhones and send them in to sportsandbrodes@gmail.com. Let's kick it off with NFL Week 1. Let's go Birds, baby. If you can see me on my YouTube right now, you will see my Fletcher Cox jersey, which I wore all day with my Eagles hat. Let's go. What a game. Did Carson Wentz not look phenomenal? Yeah, phenomenal. He looked amazing. First play of the game, Doug Peterson goes for a long ball. Now, I had a few opinions on the long ball with Carson Wentz. He needs to really let the receiver run into it. He tries to hit them where they are now. They need to lead the receiver into it. There were a couple times he threw it into some questionable places, and they could have been picked off. There were probably a good 2 or 3 times that Carson could have got picked off. But on the other hand, there were times where excellence, and I mean excellence, occurred. For the touchdown for Nelson Aguilar, who also looked fantastic yesterday. That touchdown, where he escaped maybe 3 sacks, moved up into the pocket, it was tremendous. And he just threw a nice 40-yard pass to Nelson Aguilar, who runs in. Questionable Doug Peterson calls. They were there, but it wasn't anything ridiculous. I'm very happy to see that. Very happy to see that. Because you know me, coming in, I was questionable on Doug Peterson and his play calling, and I didn't think it was too bad. I did not. There were some plays, for example, it was late in the fourth quarter. We were up by 2, and it was 4th and 1. And he likes to go for it. That's his thing. And when you get to one like LeGarrette Blount, you would think those are the times when you use him. 4th and 1. But he goes for the field goal. Puts us up by 5. Now, I actually like that. I know you always stick to your roots. I get it. But I like that. Because if the Redskins get the ball back, if they stop us on 4th and they go down to kick a field goal and win, I would be even more pissed off than if Dougie P kicked the field goal. We were up by 5, and then they scored a touchdown to win it for 7. I would be more disappointed in the 4th and 1 stop and them come down the other way to kick the field goal to win. And that's the truth. Now I want to look at some statistics for my boys here. I thought it was such a great game. Carson Wentz, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Now the interception got tipped at the line, and they made a play on the ball. The ball slowed down big time. Probably wasn't the best read to begin with, I'll be honest. Probably not. It could have been intercepted either way. I think the defender made a good play on it. LeGarrette Blount, 14 carries, 46 yards. He had a touchdown, but it was a receiving touchdown. What else do we got here? Zach Ertz, 8 receptions for 93 yards. I put him in fantasy over Eddie Lacy. We will get to my fantasy team later. Alshon, now listen, he always had safety help against him, but there were some times I thought he could have came down with the ball. 50-50 balls, I get it. There's a 50-50 chance of him getting it or not, but that's the thing. He's an elite, if you will, wide receiver. He needs to get those. He needs to bring them down more often than not. That's why we brought him in there. I didn't think he looked bad or anything. He had that nice 2-point conversion catch. I don't think he looked bad. But that's just how I feel about it. Carson Wentz just looked great, man. He looked great. After that touchdown pass to Nelson Aguilar, the first one, I was screaming, jumping up and down. I did a lap around the living room. My roommates were cracking up. But the emotion, man, the emotion I had after that, it was great. But they started coming back, the Redskins did. It was kind of scary. We had a nice pick right at the 1 yard line. Mills with the pick. Just awesome. Just awesome. With that being said, though, we had Darby go down with a leg injury, and it looked ugly on TV. It looked ugly, but it says 4 to 6, and I don't believe that there will be surgery, so that's huge. You could tell people stepped up. Robinson stepped up. Players stepped up, but he's a key piece. He definitely is. Torrey Smith, I have a problem with. There was a play where there was a fumble. Did he not want the fumble? Come on, man. It's like in basketball. When the ball's going out, you try and save the ball. It's even bigger for football. It's even bigger. You jump on it as fast as you can. I don't care how many people are around and how much bigger they are than you. You don't stand there and watch the Redskins jump on the football. That's a disgrace. I hated that. It questioned him, in my opinion. Jason Peters leaves, comes back, groin injury. He's getting up there. That scares me because that's a big piece to our line. Where are we now? At the end of the game, they reviewed the Kirk Cousins arm moving forward Fletcher Cox touchdown. His arm was moving forward. That was a bad call by the Stripes. They screwed that one up. His arm was absolutely moving forward. I believe Brandon Graham got there, knocked it out. Fletcher Cox picked it up and ran it in the end zone. Little Fletch. That's the jersey I'm rocking. I love Fletch. He had a great game. That's what he needed to do after we signed him for long-term, big-time money. He needs to step up like that. That's what he needs to do, and it was great. So overall, just very excited with Week 1. I think we look great. I mean, I always play it safe, and I'm not getting too ridiculous. It is only one game in this Chiefs team after what they look like on Thursday night against the Patriots. I am scared to go into their barn and play them. Like I said, it's only Week 1. I do not want to get too excited about this. And that's why I always underestimate. I always go 8-8. That's what I say. Because if it's anything better, I'm happy. And if it's anything worse, we have a lot of problems. But I don't think we will be. I like where we're at right now. We look solid as a squad. Doug Peterson made some questionable calls, like a screen pass, but it was also a bad execution on Carson Wentz throwing it behind the line of scrimmage, and that's when the one fumble happened. It's going to happen. It's football. People are going to make mistakes. It's just how we own up to the mistakes and move forward as a team and a franchise, and we looked great Week 1, so I can't be upset about it. But there were some other games, obviously, that went on, and we will talk about them as well. Jets-Bills, very boring game, but the Bills won. Now, overall, I have the double TV going, Eagles, Red Zone. I just thought overall, it was just like a boring day. Low scoring, not many crazy plays here and there. But there was nothing like, I don't know. It was just kind of like a slow-paced day of Week 1 football. I guess it makes sense because everyone's still trying to get used to each other and their team or whatnot. But anyway, the Bills beat the Jets 21-12. The Falcons beat the Bears, which was coming down to the wire there in the fourth quarter. Very impressed with what the Bears put out there, I'll be honest. Very impressed. I thought they were just going to get stumbled upon. The Bengals getting shut out at home Week 1. not good. Andy Dalton, not good. Did not look good at all. Here's an interesting one. Steelers, Browns. DeShone Kizer. I mean, it's the Bears. We know where they stand. But they put up a good fight against the Steelers. They got an interesting team. I would say it went a lot better than what they expected. And I believe it was the first punt of the game. I'm not sure if it was the first, but one of the punts for the Browns, the Steelers blocked and scored a touchdown. So you take that away, that special teams mistake away. The Browns actually come up on top of that game. But DeShone Kizer looked good. He really did. He looked calm. He didn't seem there's still going to be mistakes, obviously, as being a first-year player, rookie in this league. Nothing, just jump right in and it's easy. The Lions-Cardinals game was kind of one of the higher scoring games at 35-23. The Lions took it. Now, here's a crazy one. And when I was watching the NFL Network, before the game even started, my Eagles game even started, they were talking about the locks of the day. And a few guys said the Texans were a lock of the day. Well, how about this? 29-7, they got smoked by the Jags, and the Jags had 10 sacks. 10 sacks that game. What? What is going on with that? I can't even process it. I can't even put it into words. Deshaun Watson went out there. People were saying he did okay. He scored on his first NFL drive. I get all that, but he actually threw a pick six in the end zone. The guy ran it all the way back to like the 10-yard line, and it got called back because of a defensive holding. And then he scored the next play. So he did kind of get lucky on that. I think out of all the rookies that played, he kind of looked the shakiest. Understandable, but he did kind of look a little shaky. The Raiders beat the Titans. The Rams beat the Colts 46-9. Are the Colts in trouble or what? The Colts defense looked so bad. The Colts have nothing without Andrew Luck, and it's crazy to even think that Andrew Luck is going to come back and just be able to do what he did in the years past. I don't think he will. It's crazy to think Andrew Luck 3 years ago is what he is right now. He was always going, fantasy-wise, everything. Just can't stay healthy. It's a shame. That Packers-Seahawks game was boring. Just boring. I was so hyped for that game, and it gave me nothing. Packers won 17-9. Panthers killed the 49ers, and that Sunday night game was even worse, I think, than the Packers-Seahawks game. The Giants look so bad. They looked so bad. They couldn't get anything going. They could not get anything going at all. Odell Beckham didn't play after warming up and seeing how it felt, and they gave him the no-go. They say he's going to be able to get a lot of money after seeing what happened there. I can't believe it. They were supposed to have the best receiving core in the league. Odell is out, but with the best receiving core in the league, you should still be able to perform without Odell. No, their offense looked atrocious. And at the end of the game, when they were already down, they were just hitting check. Like, they were just checking the ball. And it was probably just kneel it at that point. Just kneel it. Brandon Marshall got his first catch with like 30 seconds left because he just checked it underneath. And he ran for like 5 yards. It was a joke. It was probably the lamest thing by Ben McAdoo ever. But tonight we still have Saints, Vikings, and Chargers from Broncos. It's kind of weird having 2 Monday night games, but I'm going to be very interested in them because I have them on fantasy. But before we get to the fantasy thing, I just want to talk about that Cowboys-Giants game because that Marshall catches kind of screwed up my game right now. I have 2 players left to go. Melvin Gordon, which is obviously a huge piece, big-time running back, gets me lots of points, hopefully, and Emmanuel Sanders. I am down. I'm just pulling it up right now. Let's go to my scores. I am down 23 points. Yes, okay. Just want to do the math correctly. I should probably have known that. 23 points with Melvin Gordon and Emmanuel Sanders left. And he's got nobody. I feel like it's doable. I feel like it's very doable. We just got to run the ball. So he has Jason Witten, and when he hit that touchdown, I was like, oh, man, that hurt. Because that ended up getting Jason Witten 15 points when he was sitting at, 6. So, but yeah, no, I feel like I can totally get 25 or 23 points in this Monday night game. It's such a late game. I'm going to stay up for the whole thing, of course, but 10:30 start here. I mean, we're talking 1 in the morning probably. Damn, that is so late. What are you going to do? I can't believe I actually forgot about this, but the whole entire Zeke news thing. How did that just slip my mind? We're talking about someone who was supposed to be suspended 6 games, getting some kind of grant from the law. It was a restraining order from the NFL, which doesn't make sense to me because that statement, in my mind, says that he isn't allowed to be anywhere near the NFL, or the NFL couldn't be near him. That's the restraining order. But whatever it did is apparently going to let him play for the rest of the season now. I'm not sure if that's the total truth, the whole season or what. But he can play until they figure this whole entire thing out, which I don't think that they want to have this expand and wait that long of time for. This is something that the NFL needs to make a move on because they're looking like fools right now, coming harsh with the 6-game suspension. And then now he's just allowed to play. Roger Goodell doesn't want to look stupid. Let's be real. So he's going to try and make a move. He's going to figure this whole entire situation out as soon as possible. And then whatever happens, happens. But I don't know. I don't know the whole entire situation with the law and the court. But whatever it is, the dude could play right now. And I guess that's all that really matters for the Dallas Cowboys. So, that being said, we are going into a this or that. We are a football day today. It's a football day. So, we're going to keep it with an NFL this or that. Here it is. Number 1, would you rather have Brady as your quarterback or Rodgers? If it comes to just the player, I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers. That doesn't mean that I don't think Tom Brady is the GOAT, but I think that Bill Belichick and his system really, they've been together for so long, and his system is just so perfect. And Brady, I don't want to make it seem like he's only Tom Brady and all those rings because of Bill Belichick. It's not. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I think when it comes to pure talent, one-on-one, I think Aaron Rodgers has a better arm. He's more mobile. I just think as an individual player, he is more solid of a quarterback. But that doesn't take away Tom Brady and how his status of the GOAT, because all of his rings are going to be what it is. He's technically the GOAT, and I can't argue that. I'm a sad Eagles fan who only wishes that Carson Wentz will have as many rings as him, which he might one day. Just throwing it out there. Some of these are a little goofy, though, I'll be honest with you. But the next one is, would you rather jump in a pile of leaves with Gronkowski or eat pumpkin pie with Cam? Now, I'm going with pumpkin pie with Cam solely on the fact that I remember back in the day racking up those leaves and jumping in it, tackling my friends, and just having a good time being a little kid or whatever. Gronk would literally destroy me. You know what I mean? He could pick me up by my throat and just slam me in the leaf. It just wouldn't be fun. The guy's massive. He's way bigger than me. So why not just hang out with Cam Newton and eat some pie? I'm a big piesman, if you will. So yeah, pretty much I don't want to get killed by Gronk. Let's be real. Who would want to be? Moving on to the next one. Why are these popping up like this? I don't like that. Here you go. Would you rather be in a snowball fight with Von Miller or in a water gun fight with Russell Wilson? What? I could just say what I said with the last one. I don't want to get killed by a snowball with an NFL athlete throwing it at my head. Why would I ever pick that one? I'm not trying to die by these NFL players. Russell Wilson can't make the water gun go any faster. You know what I mean? So why would I ever pick something where it could be truly harmful. Next one. Would you rather arm-wrestle Luke Kuechly or foot-race with Julio? Now, I think I have a chance to beat Julio Jones in a race. So, I really think I could defend him, to be honest. My dream is to play cornerback, and I believe my foot speed can keep up with the best of them. So, easily, I'm going with the foot race against Julio because of my foot speed. I could even start backwards and give him a 5-yard start. You should see me out there. We have Hell Week with my coach for hockey. He stands. Last year, he stood in the middle of the football field, started at 50, kept going to 60, 70, all the way to 100. My nickname then was Julio because I was that fast. So I'm going to be able to contend with him. Julio Jones it is. The last one. It's a little twist. Would you rather take a Ferrari or a helicopter ride? But with the Ferrari, since you can't drive, your favorite team's quarterback will pick you up and you get to spend the ride to the stadium with him. Or you take a helicopter ride, you see beautiful, beautiful scenery, and you land on top of the stadium. And that's the pad, the landing pad, and you're there at the game. After, like, imagine being in, like, Denver, and you get to fly across in the helicopter and see all the mountains and snow in December. But I'm going to go with the Ferrari because me and Carson will be boys. We will hang out. He's from North Dakota. I'm sure he listens to country. We will put the windows down in his old pickup truck that's, like, making noises and just listen to some country and hang out. Right? I feel like he would love that. Maybe get a Carson Wentz jersey, wear it for the ride. All due respect to Fletch. But that was another segment of This or That. We are going to move on to another lovely sport. Oh, what's that? College football, if you will. Interesting games that have occurred this past weekend. Louisville beat North Carolina 47-35. Lamar Jackson with like 6 touchdowns. He is on pace. I thought North Carolina could win this game. I really did. I thought this would be the game that Louisville could potentially lose in their schedule. But Lamar Jackson is making noise for this back-to-back Heisman run. You don't just do that and not be making headlines. But one of the arguments me and my buddies had a couple days ago, is how come there's such a big difference in quarterbacks of college football and the NFL? Like, how can you be so successful in college football and just not be anything relatively worth it to be a quarterback in the NFL? It's the speed. It's the speed of the game. You're taking the top 2% of college football and putting them in a league. So the speed has just jumped up tremendously, and some guys can't handle the pressure. Some guys don't have what it takes to be able to consistently perform at a high level when it comes to that. Like, look at Tebow. What a name, right? Everyone knows who that is. He was dominant in college football and just didn't work out for him. And I don't want to hear that he didn't get a chance because he did. Just did not work out for him. Bama, blowout, Fresno State. That Oklahoma game against Ohio State, Oklahoma showed up to play. They showed up to play. They won 31-16, and Baker Mayfield had a phenomenal game. And what he did after the game with the flag, the Oklahoma flag, and stuck it in the middle of the Ohio State's logo. He said he didn't mean to do it disrespectfully. He was just feeling the mojo, feeling the energy of the crowd, the big win. Well, a little disrespectful, I'll be honest with you. I wonder what Ohio State has to say about that in the future about some things. But that was a sick game. USC played Stanford and played them very solid, 42-24. I did not think USC was going to be as hyped as they are. And I'm very shocked that they came out and performed that way. Georgia beat Notre Dame by 1. That was a 15-24 matchup. There were some very solid college football games this week. Very solid. Clemson beat Auburn in a very big defensive game of 14-6. So that's pretty much all the big games. Michigan won. Maryland, of course, which I forgot to throw out. How could I do that, being a huge fan? We are now 2-0 after a Towson win. So we see University of Central Florida next week at home. It says it's going to rain and thunderstorm. I really hope not, because that is a weekend I can really go to the game before my hockey season starts so I can check out my new favorite squad live. Because I didn't get to go to the Towson game, which I'm a little disappointed about. Penn State beat Pitt, and the coach came out and said last year when Pitt beat us, it was like the Super Bowl for you. When we beat you this year, it was like us beating Akron. What? I'm pretty sure Pitt beat Clemson last year. So who are you to say that? They beat the national champions. So how can you just come out and say that? I hate Penn State. Remember before when I said that could be my squad and I'll follow the hype for them? Well, no, I won't. Because the Big Ten is Maryland's this year. Go Terps, baby. Go Terps. There were other huge sports news, though. We had the U.S. Open. And what did I say about the U.S. Open? Rafael Nadal with the dub. Can we get a round of applause, please? He is on the top of his game. Ranked number 1. I haven't seen Rafael Nadal play that solid in such a long time. The semifinals, he was very dominant. He lost the first set, won 3 straight. The finals, he won 6-3, 6-3, 6-4. Just an absolute beast. He was in an up and down playing. His play was so up and down in the past few years, but now he's won 2 majors this year. So he's coming back to his pure form, and I'm loving it. He's one of my favorite players. I love dominance in any sport. That's why when I was talking about Roger Federer and didn't think he had it, I love Raj. Come on, he's LeBron of tennis. Let's be real. He is the GOAT of tennis. He is better than Nadal. But something about the way Nadal plays, I just love it. He goes for the little wedgie. He picks the wedgie. He goes to the ear. He goes to the nose. He fixes the hair. He goes to the other ear. Then he goes for a serve. It's just beautiful the way he plays the game. And on the women's side, Madison Keys lost to someone who was ranked like 600 something before. Her last name is Stevens. And she made a total of like $2 million in 8 years of playing on the tour. She won $3.7 million for winning the U.S. Open, and her face was priceless. It was so funny. They handed her over the check, and her face just like lit up with like, are you serious? Yeah, she made over her whole entire 8 years. She made more in one U.S. Open than she did in her full time there in the pro tennis. But yeah, so that was the U.S. Open. I watched a tremendous amount of it. I mean, way more than the average person. My roommates never watched tennis ever, and they even stated, holy crap, this is the most amount of tennis I watched in my entire life. But it's funny, I'll walk in from class, I won't even be here, and I'll walk in and there'll be tennis on. And I'm like, I just laugh in the back of my head, because it's kind of funny. But on the last topics that I just want to throw out there right now is the Indians are on an 18-game win streak right now. That isn't realistic, okay? They are on pace to, everyone knows Moneyball and the Oakland A's, who won 20 in a row. Yeah, they're catching up to them, and I think they'll do it. I can't believe it. The Cleveland Indians are winning 18 games in a row. That is not a thing. They are so hot. And on the other side, the Dodgers. I can't believe I'm saying this. The Dodgers, actually, no, I can't believe it. The Dodgers are falling apart. They are going the wrong way right now, and that scares me. This is the time to be hot. This is the time to be Cleveland. This is not the time to be losing games. They are sitting at 92-51. I get it. Their record is still amazing. But it's been that way for a while now, and the loss columns is getting higher. It's getting higher. You have Washington Nationals last night who clinched a playoff at 88-55. But that division is pretty beat. Cleveland now sitting at 87 wins, 13 games up on Minnesota. It's crazy. Aaron Judge finally picking it up a little bit. Now they're 3.5 games back from Boston in the AL East. But Aaron Judge, he has hit his 41st home run. And I think the only person above him right now would be Mark McGwire for most home runs in a rookie season, which I don't know the number off the top of my head, so I don't want to just say something random and it be totally wrong. But he's finally starting to figure out the bat again, which is great, because when he's good, it's exciting. He's one of the most exciting players in the entire league. But anyway, I think this is where we will end this episode. Week 1, NFL. It's over. I'm so happy that it's back. It's unbelievable. We've been grinding. When I started this, it was the grind time. It was the boring time. It was just baseball. I didn't even have NBA playoffs. It was after that. Now, we have football. We have baseball playoffs. We have hockey. We have basketball coming. It's going to be a good time and a good ride for us. So, I hope you guys enjoyed it. You can follow me on Twitter at sportsandbrodes. You can call into the show using your voice recording app and send it to sportsandbrodes@gmail.com, and I can implement it into the podcast. It's been a couple episodes since I've done that, but if you want to send something in, I will totally easily answer your question and put it in the podcast. It's a cool little feature and a way to implement you guys in it. This episode is brought to you by Sports R Philly. You can check them out on Twitter at SportsRPhilly, or go to their website at www.sportsrphilly.com. And that's it. That's the episode. Thank you for listening, and we will see you again.